Welcome to CMPAC Spotlight, where we take time out to put our spotlight on our producers here at Access 21. Today, I have with me Nurse Beth Marlin. How you doing, dear?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Good to hear. So what was production like when you first started here at Access 21, and how has it changed over the years?
It was a new site, new crew, on a grant versus the previous one that we did at Time Warner. And the setup was pretty simple, Keith. We didn't have a lot of equipment. We didn't have plants. Cameras were old. We had, of course, new crew. It was just re-innovating the wheel. And I took all the classes over that I had at Time Warner, and because I wanted to be in sync with the mindset for the new administration. And I think things go so much better when you cooperate with each other. You can't always have things the way they were, and you can't always pop new things on some people that just don't want to change, honey. So it takes a collaboration between the volunteers and the management. Because see, if we were on regular TV, you and I would be paid. But here, that is not the case.
Right.
And so, you know, it's hard sometimes to understand that we give up a lot of our time. Some shows it takes me 48 hours to prepare. 48
hours? 4 to 8?
No, 40
hours. 40 hours, so 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
If I'm preparing something like covering the subject of holiness, then I'm going to look up all the scripture. I'm going to check on the authors who are known for their authenticity in presenting holiness. You know, it wouldn't come across too well if a prisoner that was cussing and fussing and drinking and to be talking about holiness.
Right.
And we have pastors who are talking about holiness but may not necessarily practice holiness. We need to practice what we preach. If I came here and I was talking about how to be well, how to be healthy, and I was 200 pounds overweight,
right,
would anybody believe me? They shouldn't, because something is wrong. And what I found out, unless a person really wants to present their body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, there's not going to be a change in our behavior. And you know, I'm constantly changing.
Absolutely. Speaking about change, and you mentioned reinventing the wheel, can you talk about the transition that you had to make from, you know, analog to digital and things of that nature?
Well, it was quick.
Okay.
Because you would come in one day and you would have different equipment, and you just go with the flow. I mean, you learn as you go, and don't get stressed out about it, because change is evident. That's one thing that is certain, is change. Now, that can be expensive, because, you know, we went from buying tapes, DVDs,
right,
thumb drives, cards, and only the Lord knows what will be next.
Right.
But, you know, it's exciting.
Okay.
I don't mind.
You don't mind it? I mean, because I know some people, they've, you know, in the past, they've had issues with just about everything, involving production and the changes that are being made. But you would say that you tend to go with the flow, knowing that in this industry stuff is constantly changing.
Well, Keith, you have to determine what's your bottom line. My bottom line is helping people be the best they can be. Now, however that comes about is very relevant, because it's the audience that I'm trying to bless. Yes, my crew is so precious, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure.
But what I have found, my experience has been, whatever education I was doing, my crew members were at the right place at the right time for the right information. And I love the way the Lord orchestrates things. And it's not about me. It's about the producing the best show we can produce to help people be the best they can be.
Wow. So all of that other stuff, like, well, I prefer it to be this way, it should be done like this, all of that is out the window. That's put on the back burner because you're more so focused on the crew and the people that your show is affecting.
Yes,
I think that's
and
amazing.
the guest.
Yeah.
So, and a quick example would be, I did a special. Okay. The lady that was supposed to bring the props didn't show up until half an hour later. Well, by that time, we're ready to go. So she comes in and brings the most gorgeous red roses and, silver containers. And we had to take all my stuff out. Well, not my stuff.
Right.
The props for the show.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate. Oh, those roses are beautiful, and they were.
Yeah.
But if you don't make your audience, and we had like 15 people in the audience here that day of the family. If you don't make your audience comfortable and your guests comfortable, you're done. And that's what the bottom line is.
That's true. I agree. All right. We have a clip of your show, actually.
Okay.
Wink, wink. We have a clip of your show. Can you tell us what it is that we're getting ready to watch?
Well, that is a good question. My editor put a lot of shows together quickly and used a lot of different design techniques.
Okay.
So it's going to be entirely different than anything I've done the last 32 years.
Okay.
So I'm excited about it.
Amazing.
It's not the same old, but I think people will like it.
All right. Well, let's take a look at it.
Wellness, wholeness, holiness is the plan for me. Well, whole and holy. Thank you for joining us today for Wellness, Wholeness, Holiness. We've been talking about, and we're going to do our exercises. Gather your family together. We're going to do it a little different. I want you guys to start inserting your name in the exercises, okay? And make them. Maria McCann,
Yes,
we are
yes.
so blessed you're with us today.
Thank you.
And we want to talk about community programs for the youth. Nemish, it's so good to have you back. And I would love for you to share some of the hands-on programs that you're doing. Wellness, wholeness, holiness is the plan for me. Well, whole and holy is what I long to be. Wellness, wholeness, holiness will lead us to the...
All right. So we just got finished watching the clip. What were your thoughts when you first saw it?
Shock. My editor brought in some new quick clips with different angles and different lengths of presentation.
Okay.
A lot of different combinations of guests on the show, different sets, and just different ideas. And I thought it was real neat. it was definitely an aha moment for me. But that's what every day is about.
Absolutely.
I hope that people love it.
The last time you were here, well, you were actually here, let's be honest. You were here another time not too long ago, but we had some technical difficulties. So we thank you for coming back. But the first one that aired, we'll say, you talked about what you wanted your audience to get from your show. You mentioned a bevy of things of you wanted them to be well physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially, and I think the word, and legally.
Yes.
Yeah, so can you speak to us a little bit more about that? You didn't really get a chance to expound at that moment because that, I think at the time the show was maybe 10 minutes or something, but we got a little bit more time today. So, if you want to elaborate on that. So.
Okay, well, 3 John 1:2 says, therefore I wish you well, even as your soul is well. And that's where it starts. So when the Lord gave me the title of the show, being in nursing 58 years and being in religious settings, a lot of different types of religious settings, I thought I understood the terms. But about a year into the show, I asked the Lord, okay, so what does wellness mean to you, Lord? Well, when we admit that we're a sinner and turn and eat no more. If we're eating 16-ounce bag of chips, and that's what we're having for our meal, we shouldn't be surprised that we have high blood pressure and have a stroke, have a heart attack, have plaque buildup. But a lot of people don't want to admit that they drink 3 times a day, or that they, don't wear their glasses and they're making bad grades, and they don't understand why, because they're not seeing what they should be absorbing into their mind. And a lot of people, elderly people, deny that they can't hear well. But it's a gradual thing, so we don't know that we're changing. Physically well, your blood pressure should be between 90/60 and 139/88. Your respiration should be between 12 and 20. Your heart rate should be between 60 and 90. And most people don't know what their normal is. So how can they know if they're getting ill? If your pulse is up to 120, you need to see help, okay? Because tachycardia is no joke. Atrial fib is no joke. A lot of times they don't present all the symptoms according to the book. For instance, you think about somebody having a heart attack, Keith. They're going to have chest pain, pain going down their arm or up their neck. They may be blue. They may be short of breath. That's not been my case for the unserved and underserved. What happened, I got a call from my daughter, and she said, my dad just doesn't sound right. He came in, I asked him how he was. I'm fine. His pulse was in the regular range. His blood pressure was in the regular range, but he was having Kushmal respirations. Now, when you're having a heart attack and it's in the back blood vessels, the symptoms don't present the same. And my young black women, 28 to 35, they think they pulled a muscle in their left scapula because the pain's referred to the back. And they're usually 150, 200 pounds overweight. So that weight is pressing not only on the heart and lungs, but it's also pressing on the receptors in their spine. So that pain is not referred to the way the textbook. And my elderly black men, they think they've got indigestion because the pain is under the sternum. And so it's so important for you to know what the signs of wellness are.
Okay.
And then that's physically. Mentally, you know, are you alert? Are you oriented to person, place, and time? And those are the basic ones. Can you change according to your environment? Or do you just freeze up and start blaming other people? And that's kind of intermean to social too. But if you have people that start blaming and don't want to take accountability for their actions, there's a mental process that's not functioning on the right track.
Right.
And it does affect your emotions. It affects the emotions of everybody around you. The scripture says, I'm not giving you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Now, that sound mind is really important mentally.
Absolutely.
You've got to be able to obey the Lord, organize your task according to what the Lord wants you to do, and then complete it to the final product. And that may take years. It may not happen in 15 minutes. Spiritually, it's not about us. I know there's a song that talks about if it's a concern to us, it's a concern to the Lord. My view is exactly opposite. If it matters to the Lord, it matters to me. Because what matters to me may not matter to the Lord. And so it's who you put first mentally that's going to affect what you're doing, you know, how sound your mind is. Now, other people may not understand. They may not think you have a sound mind. But we don't answer in the final.
Right.
God has a final plan.
Right.
Financially goes along with that because, you know, if we don't stay within our budget, we need to make a budget. We need what the income is. We need what the outgo is. And we need to be saving. Now, with our sons, when we moved to Charlotte, they were about 6 and 8.
Okay.
And we talked about tithing. Now, so I had to make it real. I gave them $1 in dimes. So they gave 1 dime to the Lord. They put 1 dime in savings.
Right.
They had 8 dimes to spend.
Right.
Whoa!
Right.
At 6 and 8 years old, they got 8 dimes.
Right.
And so my younger son that became the pastor, he would save more. You know, he would actually put 10% for the church, 10% for him, and 10% for somebody else. So he was already learning to love his neighbor as he loved himself by how he controlled his money.
Yeah.
And it is a control. We do control all of those facets. So physically, legally, so many people do not plan, especially college students, for final rites. You know, do you have a living will? These kids go on campus, they get shot down.
This is a reality. Yeah.
Things have changed so much. You talked about change.
Yeah.
What we used to do and plan 20 years ago is different now, you know, because now young people are owning computers, they're owning cars. So who are they going to lead that to? And you don't want a family squabble.
Right. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of that. And especially when it comes to your finances and all of that type of stuff. It says where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So, you know, the fact that he was not just saving for himself, but for other people as well, that speaks volumes. But speaking more about your show and you're a well of information. Over the past 32 years, because you have been doing this show for 32 years, I want to highlight that. That's a feat in and of itself, so we thank you for that. What has been some of the feedback on your show? Like, what, I think I kind of want to ask two questions, like really like, because it seems, I wanted to ask what was coming to mind when you were talking. I'm like, is this show, is it preventative or is it proactive? And I think that I'm going to answer for you, if you don't mind. I think you would say that it's both, right? So, but like, can you expound on what the general consensus is? Like, what are people learning? What are they getting from it?
Okay, so I get positive and negative phone calls, and you have to accept both. So, I was doing a series on classes at CPCC, and I got a call from this lady. She said, she called me Miss Betty. Mm-hmm. She said, Miss Betty, I went to CPC and took that class on how to present yourself. She said, I got a new hairdo. I went to the consignment shop and got new clothes. I look like a different person. She said, I did get my drug kids out of the house. She said, I've started a new job. And she said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I didn't know this lady. Had no idea. Never seen her, never heard from her. And I got a note on my door at 508 Beatties Ford Road, and she wanted me to pray for her. So I did. I fell on my knees and I prayed for her. She was not there. I saw her 3 months later in the tax office, and she thanked me. She told me the answers to my prayer. So it's been really encouraging. One lady from South Carolina, social service had taken her children, given them to her mother. She was on the street.
Wow.
Talking about shelter and those opportunities, had no idea that this lady was on the street. And she just needed encouraging. Don't give up, get help, go to AA, go to your pastor, take courses in your church, take courses in the community college. They're free. There are a lot of free courses that you can take. Mobility is a big problem for a lot of people. I also got a call from a doctor, and he said that he was ashamed of anybody that watched my show.
Wow.
And what was the word that he used? He called me a name. I said, I so appreciate that.
Wow.
And I just turned it around. Because, if you want to call me a fool for Jesus or addicted to Jesus, hallelujah, make my day.
Right.
Because everybody's addicted to something. Everybody puts other things first, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, their children, their work. Everybody has a central focus, and you have a choice in that. And you have a choice how you're going to spend your time, your money, your planning.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
It's fine if he wants to say that they're foolish to watch my show. It's another thing to fire them.
Yeah.
For watching my show.
Right.
Because the nursing model is a wellness model. The medical model is based on drugs. It's based on the DRG, diagnostic-related groups. So, you've got to understand that I was raised that we're a team. Teamwork makes the dream work. I need good physicians to plan good medication regimes for people who have atrial field, who have tachycardia, who are on drugs, I need their expertise and help. But everybody doesn't feel like they're on a team. That's not the way they were trained now. And you have to understand that too, and give them some slack.
Right.
But still stay on course.
Right. Real quick, before we get out of here, because we're out of time, unfortunately. Again, you're a wealth of information, and can't wait to hear more from you. What is the day and time of your show?
Okay, it's always on Friday night from 7:30 to 8
Okay.
on TV 21 CMPAC.
That's right.
And you can also live stream. You want to give them that information?
Yeah, just if you know, a lot of people are mobile, just go to Access 21. You could go download the app, Access 21, and you're on demand, right?
Yep.
All right, so she's all access on YouTube, all of that. Nurse Marlin, we like to thank you so much for being here today. Greatly appreciate you. We'll see you guys next time.